Okay guys, so I just bought the bike of my dreams. It's a 1955 Harley Davidson Panhead. Incredibly stoked. Two of my very good buddies, Paul Ozzie and Buzz Canner, brought the bike down from New York. The bike actually was just minutes away from Paul's house.
The kid wanted to see you go to a good home. I told him I would be a better home, but it's Matt's deal.
Now, this bike is completely original condition, or at least so I hear. So we're gonna see if we can get it fired up and running. We're gonna take a look, see how original this bike is. Those couple factors are gonna determine how good of a deal it was or how good of a deal it wasn't. So we're just gonna keep the fingers crossed and hope that everything keeps coming up just as we hope it does for Wheels Through Time. Wow, there it is, 1955 FL. 2620 something. All this, check this out, Steve. Front fender emblem, beautiful. Look at all this trim, the hubcaps, dude. Look at the hubcaps. Black rim, interesting. I believe that's, I guess it is original paint. Windshield's got a little crack on it, but that's no big deal. Look at these visors on the mirror. Visors on the headlights, that's missing one. Oh, look at that. Wow, look, the sidecar's got trim on it. Holy smokes, this thing has lights and doodads everywhere. Oh man, that's cool. Wow. Holy moly. Look at these freaking megaphones, dude.
I know those pipes.
Oh man, those pipes are so good. Like, wow. You don't see them this original this often. I mean, it's so, look at these. I mean, guide lights, rear stand, right primary cover, chrome oil tank, which is kind of interesting. It's got these super, look at this. He raised those up, did he?
They hung off the rack.
Oh, wait a minute. They hung it off the rack, but this bracket here is like.
So there's no holes in the fender?
There are holes in the fender, but they decided to raise it. Yeah, it's still got the original hardware on it to put these on. Whoa, so what year's the sidecar? The sidecar, it's a 55 sidecar. It may be the sidecar to this bike, and I can't tell if it's
Matt, I got some parts up here.
You got parts?
Yeah, man.
Man, there's an Indian racer. Hold on a minute. So, dude, this is amazing. Oh, look at this. 55 LE 1200. My red sidecar over there is a 55, and I think it's... Give me a second. I gotta check this out. So this is crazy. This is a 55 sidecar that I put on my... 55 LE 1221. What was that one? That was 1221. 55 LE 1221. It's 1210. That's 10 sidecars away from that one. Wow. Awesome. Look at here. Old registration. 1974 registration. Paul, you said you had parts up there?
Yeah, get them out here now.
I don't want to even leave that thing. My God, that's amazing.
It's like Christmas. It's snowing?
Wow.
Take one of these.
Hey, no more pieces of flair for you, buddy. You've already got your 13
I don't have
pieces
the
of flair.
15 is the minimum. 35 is the better.
Look at this. Oh God, that goes on the back. Oh, on the back of the sidecar. Oh man. Okay, so what do we got
tank
going
is
on
in here?
Yeah, it's a tank shift tank, 55 tank. So, but I don't know if that's original paint or not. Let's look over here real quick. So what I think the guy was doing was this bike started out as a foot shift. Mousetrap, original motorcycle. He obviously went to that's like a police shifter from the late 60s, 70s. This is, chromed up, so probably wouldn't have been original to the bike, and so swapped the foot clutch. So what he was doing was, this was the next step, was to take this
and bring it back.
Put it on there, then he could make it a full-on tank shift 55. That being said, I think it's way cooler as it is.
Did you see what this is? Did you look at it?
Public school doorknob.
New York City.
New York City, cool. That's worth keeping. Yeah. God, it's decked. It's got all the stuff on it. It needs a little bit of mildew remover, something to clean the grime off. Beautiful grips.
Those are original, aren't they?
Original grips. How do the tanks look? Did you look inside?
Yeah, a little rusty. Got fuel in them though. That's not bad.
Yeah, I was worried. Oh no. Oh man. Wow. Did you kick it?
No,
I'm
I wasn't
kick it.
Yeah, you don't put a little love on it?
Let's see here. That is an aftermarket kicker pedal. Yeah, it is. Oh,
Are you in gear?
I am in gear.
Let me get out of the way when you kick it.
5/8 pressure.
Yeah, it's got great compression. This thing is going to run probably today.
Absolutely.
Let's back it in. Wow, look at that luggage rack on the bottom. So
Did you see all the other
sidecar
ones
wheel.
over here?
Oh, look at all these parts. Hubcaps, that's freaking cool, man. Flat screen TV mount.
Original.
That was the guy in the sidecar.
OEM Samsung. Dude, here, let's go look at this stuff. Wow, these are freaking cool here. I don't even know what they're from. I don't know if they're automotive.
So you happy, Matt?
So far, I hope it runs as good as it looks.
I'm sure it will.
First glance though, nice bike. Really, really nice bike. And you can tell it was really well cared for, and it's just been sitting for a little while. When I was talking about all the things changed on this, look, original oil filter, got all sorts of great chrome. Inevitably though, over the years, things get changed. And what we're seeing in some of these boxes, some of the original parts off the bike are in the boxes, sidecar wheel, possibly the dash, but stuff like this is what we really geek out over. So the lights are cool, but the caps, okay? You have a gas cap with the original, I don't know if you can see that, the original Eaton logo on it. Now this one, different. It's not a different Eaton logo, but it's a different location of the Eaton logo, which is really pretty cool. Very hard to find because they get lost, they get dented, they get dinged up, they get switched out for something more fancy and chromy. All right. Well, and then there's a whole bunch of other bikes to look at. You said stuff was for sale.
Yeah.
Well, you got a racer.
This is Butch Bear's race bike.
This is a real deal Indian Sport Scout.
Oh, yeah.
Butch Bear is a heck, man, he's a legend. Nice 101.
101 Scout.
30? 29?
31.
31.
Last year.
Look at that headlight. Whoa, God.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that bike. That's I know
Well,
that bike.
You did some work on that. Your dad built that one.
My dad built that
shop.
one, and I did a little bit of engine work. Wow.
Some suspension.
Hold on. Too cool, man.
2 JDH 2 cams, a 101 Scout, a Sport Scout road racer. Yes.
So what's the? Where are they going? What's
Down to Florida. The maroon one I'm keeping. Your dad Dale built that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep that forever. The blue one I'm not sure about.
That
29
blue one
2
looked
cam.
really good. We used to have a blue one just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the racer, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with.
When did you run that last? It's been a while.
About 20 years.
51 tooth sprocket. Oh, it's got the 4 pipes on it.
Yep. About 20 years ago.
Look at this. Can you guys see this over here? Let me see. Yeah. Man, this is crazy. Wow, that's too cool. Other side, guys. Beautiful big blue primary. Look at that air cleaner. Matte cam.
Yeah.
The 4
Flying
pipes
cam.
is about my favorite part of it.
Pipes of pan.
You thinking like 50?
Little more.
Come on.
Little more, man.
All right, I just bought a pan head. I'm broke, man. Let's go get it
I
running.
love you, Matt, but.
Come on. All right, cool. Let's get this thing running. Get around the corner. I'm good over there. Oh my God. All right. That was a long push, man. So guys, this is what we've been waiting for. The 1955 Harley panhead. I mean, this thing is decked out with all the good stuff. And on the way back, I noticed some other really cool things. I mean, you saw that big honking voltage regulator to carry all those lights. You know, chrome everywhere you could put it. Accessories everywhere you can put it. So the goal today is to get this thing hopefully cranked up. That's what we're gonna give it a shot for. The bike hasn't run in 6, 7, 8 years. The bike wasn't registered in 6, 7, or 8 years. It may have actually been longer since it ran. Kind of nasty gas in there. I sure don't smell good. So first order of business, we're gonna, this stinks. First order of business, we're gonna get this fuel tank drained, and then we're gonna see if we can't start to figure out exactly what it's gonna take for this thing to crank up and run. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. This is a really nice original example. It's too nice of an example, Chris, to sacrifice any sort of processes, you know?
Yeah.
It's the stakes are high, and if we end up going about this the wrong way, you know, you end up hurting a 1955 Harley engine. Ooh, look at that. Oh God, it's got the 6-bolt heads. That's very cool. I didn't notice that when we rolled it out of the trailer. What I mean by 6 bolts, guys, if you look at a Harley Davidson panhead, you see 12 holes around the outside of the head. that hold down the rocker cover, the pan itself. These couple years, they had them big, huge, wide D-rings, and they only put in 6 bolts. They only did it for a year, so obviously it wasn't the best decision. That one still got it on there, and I haven't looked too close to see how bad that sucker's leaking. Chris, does it look like there's oil all over the heads or no?
You know, nothing besides just the standard fare. I mean, there's a little bit on the front here.
Yeah, incredibly clean bike. I mean, what's really crazy and weird is he's got this bike, original paint. You know, the sidecars we kind of are thinking has been repainted, but this indeed appears to be the original paint. And when you notice, there's no tank shift here. A lot of sidecars were tank shift bikes, which makes me wonder if it was ever even sold new with the sidecar. Like the front end, for example, that's a regular glide front end. The sidecar front ends, typically you see that adjustable rake front end, and that's just a different deal than this. It actually gives a little bit more rake to the front end to run with the hack. And a lot of the bikes, I don't know what year they came out with that, maybe 53, 54 maybe, that adjustable rake front end. So what that's kind of telling me is that this was probably a two-wheeler, and this fella found a 55 sidecar. Makes total sense given that the sidecar's not original paint. I'll tell you though, man, it's too good of a combo to break up. So my goal with this, if we can get this running, I want to use it for my family rig, man, is to take my girls out on Sunday sidecar rides. It's one of our favorite pastimes. So if all goes according to plan, and this thing actually runs and runs good, we're gonna make it the new around town rig. So I got my 4-year-old, my 8-year-old, slap them in the sidecar and put on some miles. So we're gonna see what we can make happen. So first order of business, Chris, let's get these tanks drained. I'm gonna see if I can find a battery. Man, I'm hoping we don't have to rebuild this carburetor, but it looks a little grimy, man. I think we go ahead and try and give it a shot without it. Battery, it's got, oh no. No, it's locked.
Oh, well.
Did you bring your lock picking stuff?
No, but I can make one real quick.
Really?
Yeah.
So Chris picks locks. And this is completely unprompted. I have not even turned the switch yet. The key is locked. So we, you know, in the bags, these bags are fragile. No mouse nests or anything.
I just wanted
like
to,
that.
I counted, there's 16 accessory lights.
16 accessory lights.
Including the 2 spotlights here. So there's 16 extra lights on this bike. And I just, you know, the potential for wiring issues is catamount on this machine.
La, 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 la. If I got my choice, and if things go my way, you guys, I saw some of your comments last video about pay attention to cosmetics. They're easy to get running. It's figuring out how to tastefully deck it out with all this garbage in here that's the fun part. We'll see if we can stack some extra lights on it and put that voltage regulator to the test. So, Chris, I'm gonna grab a battery.
Okay. Looks like sweet tea.
Looks like you're doing all the work. It looks like sweet tea. Oh, God. Doesn't smell like sweet tea. You're doing all the work today, too. After you get done with that, you want to pick that lock?
Yeah, sure. We'll take care of it.
All right. No motorcycle is safe around Chris Estep. Preacher by day, lock picker by night. 18,000 original miles, though. I have a proper one. Oh, that's the bad part about the buddy seats. There you go. You did a little oil down on the bottom. Could be rustier. Oil tank's clean, but it's empty. Makes me wonder what's in the lower end. What is in the lower end? So let's get a read on those spark plugs next and see if we can get an idea of when the last time this bike might have been running. I'm just gonna pull the plugs out and we're gonna see what they look like. Auto lights. Poor sap that runs Champion plugs. Look at those. Little rich, but I'll take it. 4275s. Okay, so we know that now. Auto light 4275. Same. Nice. Almost identical. When Paul picked it up, he actually had the fella kick it over to show us that the engine turned over. It puked out an absolute pile of oil, so I'm guessing there's a ton of oil in the lower end. That is a good thing, but it might make the bike a little more difficult to start. We're gonna see if we got any sort of juice in this battery. Wouldn't be amazing if this battery still had a charge. Oh, yeah. Been sitting for 5 years. I don't think we're gonna get that lucky, but 3 volts.
Wow.
That's more than I thought. That's definitely more than I thought. You know what? That lady just sent the charger. We just got a charger in the mail. I'm gonna go get it. And we're gonna go ahead and see if we can get this battery coming up, maybe add a little bit of water to it. Yeah.
Left tank, you know, there's a little bit, you may need to, it's got quite a bit of debris down at the bottom.
While it's empty, we'll clean the filter. We'll run it, knowing that the gas tank's gonna come off.
Okay.
We're gonna be fine. We put fresh gas in there. Crucial thing here, you guys know, preservation is key. We wanna do the best job we can, keeping the most authentic thing on the museum floor for folks to see. We're gonna find out. I'll be back with the charger. Give me just a minute.
Okay, so two things you really need when picking a lock, and that is the tool to move the pins or the tumblers inside the lock up and out of the way, and then you need a turning tool, which is what helps you turn the lock the same way you would if the key was in there and as you turn it with your hand. I don't have a lock pick kit here, so I'm just gonna make those out of some welding rods. So I got some little bit thicker stuff here. I'll make the turning tool out of that. This thinner one, I will hammer out a little flat spot on the end and take it over to the grinding wheel and make a little point on it to use as my pick. So it's not the most appropriate tools, but sometimes you have to make do with what you have, and that's what we're gonna do today.
You can see it's locked here. I may have to thin my turning tool down just a little bit.
I swear I have done this before. This is getting annoying. Hope Matt's having a better time than I am.
Okay, so I got a call the other day for a super rare bike, and as it would happen, all the stars kind of aligned, and within minutes of getting the phone call, we had the bike in hand. So check this thing out. Absolutely awesome 1914 Harley Davidson. I know it doesn't look like much, guys, but this is the stuff that we absolutely geek out over. 1914 was a particularly cool year because they're stepping into this advancement stage, and 14 was the year that Harley Davidson figured out, you know what, we're gonna build a machine where you can shift gears. So in 1914, 1 year only, Harley Davidson debuted the 2-speed model. So that's one of the neatest things about this. Incredibly rare. Believe it or not, it's not in too bad a condition. It's rough, it's rusty, there's pitting, but overall, the frame is straight as an arrow. The fork is straight as an arrow. It stayed pretty dry its entire life. What I like the most about it is the thing is almost complete. You wanna see the engine? Come on. The engine, the power plant is kind of the last of the primitives. 1914 Harley Davidson engines. You guys take a look. Twin cylinders, 61 cubic inches. When you look at the 1914s, there's your VIN number, 3635H. H is what signifies the 1914 model year. For the 1914 twins, they were all designated with an H. Now you guys see there's lots of numbers here. They popped the VIN number here on the case. That was standard. Matching cylinder. So this is how you know when things have been changed around, if they have or if they haven't. I don't know if you can see that, guys, or not. 3635H. So completely untampered with engine. 1914, first year for Harley Davidson's race program. This thing's still got the push rods. It's missing the carburetor. I suppose what we ought to do is roll this thing inside the teen shop and kind of dig into it a little bit more, dissect it. This is the stuff we live for, guys. Completely amazing how this happened. I mean, some stories are almost too good to be true. In this case, it's not. 110-year-old farmhouse. You just wouldn't have believed it. This thing was hanging in an old spring house, been hanging there as long as Jason had remembered, since he'd been a kid. His dad picked the bike up down in Florida, brought it all the way back to North Carolina. And one of the neatest things about it is how complete it actually is. I got my assistant Evelyn here. This is my daughter. Evie was pointing out no tires. She noticed the rear wheel was missing, but Evie, we got the rear wheel here, the engine, of course, and then in this box is all the ultra cool stuff. Now, when you're looking at a bike like this, you got your big components, but it's all the little stuff that separates a machine like this from something far less complete. When you start looking the bike over, and of course it's mangled, but everything's fixable. 1914, 1 year only luggage rack. Ultra cool counter shaft assembly. There's also a brake pedal. So 1914 is the first year of floorboards and first year of foot controls on a Harley Davidson. Prior to that, you know, if you guys come check out the 12 and the 13 out here. 1912, pedal start only. So you see the chain over on this side, no floorboards, no brake pedal. The only way to stop this 1000cc machine was to back pedal brake it. 280 pounds, clutch operated only on the hand over on this side. You get to 1913, pedal crank. Now this 13's a really special 13 that was upgraded with floorboards, clutch pedal. You can see this is like bolt-on attachment here. The rear brake over on this side. If you get back in there, Steve, you see this 13, they bolted these deals on the back here that allowed you to affix a brake pedal. So you had the coaster brake, but then you also had the foot brake. Floorboards were added, and they actually had a little two-piece lug, and then the clutch pedal, same thing with the brake pedal. So you didn't just have this action. Now the 14 in the building here, exact same model. See, Evie, this is what this thing looks like, done up and perfectly original. This bike never been tampered with. It's the exact same model. You see that 2-speed control here that goes all the way to the hub. You see it there, how it works? That big long rod, it runs on the pivot here, and that changes the gears. Like on your bicycle, changes the gears. Floorboards, and what I'm seeing, it seems like almost all of those parts are there. So first glance, it's a little rough, but the more I started looking at this thing and the more that we delved into it when we were pulling the parts out, it seems pretty complete. Come on in here and check it out. The engine is just absolutely beautiful. Missing the carburetor, but I think I might even have a carburetor for this back in the shop. I kind of want to see what's inside before we go delving into the other parts. Maybe you can help me out. Let's go ahead and, would you take that screw out there? And then here, let me get it loosened up for you. There you go. So then use 2 hands, it might be easier. Yep. Cool, there's one, and then the other one's right here if you get that one too. Yeah, so super straight fork, fender brace stuff. Look at these little oil cups. You got one? Yeah. Okay, we got one. You're gonna get the other one? Oh man, this is exciting because nobody has been inside this engine in maybe 110 years, and you're gonna be the first person to see it. Next screw. What do you think? It's gonna be grimy? It's gonna be rusty?
Maybe.
All right, so here we go.
Pretty rusty.
Yeah, it's rusty. It's kind of right in between. It's all in really, really nice shape. Nothing's broken, nothing's cracked. There's a big foundry mark here that looks like a crack, but that's actually just from the casting. That's how it was. Beautiful on the outside. Couple years only they ran this. Wow, this is amazing. It looks like all the original stuff in there. There's no telling if this engine would turn over or not. I'm excited to see if I have the carburetor. Wow, very cool. 110 years old. You were the first person to see inside of it. Isn't that awesome? Looky there, that goes in like this. Bada bing, bada boom. Awesome. We'll be running in an hour, a year from now. All right, other stuff, yeah, and then as we get back onto this, you know, all like even the old like leather cable housing right in here kind of still exists. The spirals are still on it. Beautiful, beautiful front hub, crusty wheel. Over on the other side, absolutely beautiful clutch lever. This oil tank's gonna leak. So here, look, Evie, check it out. This is the other part of the muffler. Oh man. And it's got the cutout still. This would have hung here, okay? So you've even got the bolt here, which there's the clamp. Missing the muffler. This actually would have slid way up under here. So we'll go like this. And oh wow, the screw's still in the, oh, that's amazing. You know, the screw is still in the oil tank here, but what we got going on, this was an exhaust cutout. So you've got your muffler, and you would keep this little flap here closed when you're in town, to run everything through the muffler, out the pipe and back, which as you can see has probably been gone for 80 years or so. Then you get this thing out on the open road, pull that lever up and it opens the cutout. Gets a little noisier, makes that sweet Harley Davidson sound. Doesn't get much cooler than this. Rear brake. So here we are. I was telling you about this clutch or the rear brake actuator here. So this is gonna hang right back this way, the anchor right here. Oh wow, it all bolts right together. Clutch. This part is among the hardest parts of any Harley Davidson of any era to find, is a rear wheel clutch. They called it a freewheel clutch. impossible to find. This whole box of stuff, the bike was hanging in the spring house. It hung there again, like this could have been 70, 80 years. Missing the parts at first glance, at least we thought it was. So we ended up roaming around and ended up finding this box in the old milk barn on the farm. 500-acre farm, if you guys can believe it. We roll into this property and there's this super cool old farmhouse. It's fallen down on itself. Bike was out back behind the farmhouse. You know, little outbuildings everywhere with all sorts of cool old stuff. Neat side story, the fella that owned the farm, he's 93 years old right now. His grandfather is the fella that sold the patent rights for the steel rim to Henry Ford. Check it out. Super neat piece of history. Just another thing that really kind of adds to the story about this bike. So rear brake. So rear brake's gonna hang right up here. Floorboard, actually, didn't have the second floorboard. Yeah, and then this here, you see here, Steve, this wide clevis here, pin goes through that, the actuator, and the narrow clevis on this one goes inside of the wide clevis. So that's how they connect the two. So what do we got here? This is the breather that goes on the back of the engine. We're gonna assemble this stuff here right now. So what we're gonna do, see if we can get this motor bolted in. You think we can do it, Evie? You gonna help me out? I'm gonna hold that motor up and you're gonna put the bolts through. Ready? Yeah, you're ready. Nice job. Okay, that's a go. Man, it looks a lot cooler with the motor in it, don't it? It looks like a bike. We're gonna have this running in no time. You can restore a bike 100 times over and you're never gonna be able to get a foot pedal bracket to slide on. So easy as that. It's a big testament to the equipment itself. Wow, just wow. Beautiful mica spark plugs, and I bet those still work. Oh, and the threads are still solid. Oil sight glass, check it out. So you got a dial indicator up here, up top, guys. Down low, a little dirty that glass is, but you'd be able to see the dial there. When you loosen it, it allows drips into the sight glass. They say 6 or 8 drips a minute or something based on standard use. Now we get into the really cool stuff, guys. The 2-speed rear hub, and I've never even had one of these apart. So this is gonna be a learning experience for all of us. The first thing I'm gonna get is this 1914 2-speed Shuttle Shift advertisement. Harley Davidson's whole deal for this. We're gonna see how all this stuff works. Harley Davidson 2-speed, this is an original advertisement from 14. Again, the 1-year only deal with that 2-speed adjustment on the rear hub. Quality counts. It's not simply noiseless. It's soundless. I don't know what they mean by that. It's kind of the same thing, isn't it? Same thing, yeah. Sure feels like the same thing. No spur planetary gears to howl, no idler gears to rattle or wear, no expanding clutch to grab or wear, no planetary bands to squeal or wear, no cone clutches to jerk or to adjust, no brass, bronze, or Babbitt bushings, no excessive weight, no oil to leak out. The Harley Davidson 2-speed, it works so well we only did it for 1 year. Okay, it's the strongest, simplest, and at the same time lightest 2-speed made. So when I picked this wheel up, one of the things I noticed, I spun the axle, and check this out. This is too gnarly. See all those gears? Yeah. Is that nuts? Wow. Just super cool. So the way that this worked, it had the rod from the top of the gas tank, which unfortunately we're missing, but it had the lever up top which connected this rod and this pivot, and it goes all the way to the back, and it controls the 2-speed through this little block. Where was that block? This here, okay? Now if you notice, this is actuating this little, so this little job here is your gear selector. The teeth here operate the gear selector inside of the axle. This is wild. Again, guys, I've never had one of these apart, but this inside the axle, it actually, the axle itself, yeah, see look, the gear selector's moving inside of the axle. Now, the selector might be a little froze up. No, it's not frozen, it's gonna work. So let's pull this out and see what we got going. Here, look, it's got the adjusters, original axle adjusters. Absolutely amazing. Looky there. Oh, wow. Gear selector pulls. Complicated, guys. You can see why they only would have done this for 1 year. I'm gonna have to do some reading on how to actually get this thing apart, because right now I've got the whole axles. Well, now it's not spinning anymore. Oh, that's because this bearing cone's off. And the bearing cone, the cogs have to lock in. All dried out grease here. This thing has been neglected for a long time. Look, all the original balls, 5/16 ball bearings. We could probably piece all of these and put this all back together. So we're gonna make a short run at just trying to mock assemble this thing. I'm not even gonna put the bearings in it. So that's together. We've got the flat for the axle, okay? And then we also have the rear brake drum. Look at this, is this gonna come apart? One year only rear brake drum from this 1 year only with that big hole in the middle for this 2-speed hub. Spanner nut to hold on the brake drum. Oh yeah. Got the brake drum. Wow, it's very cool. The brake backing plate with that big square hole. That's threading in. Now the other side is gonna be the tricky side. And this is going to, look at there, there's your planetary gear, no planetary gears. I don't know what they call that. Oh no, spur planetary gears to Howell. We're gonna slide this in, look at there. Oh, it all works. It all works, yes. So then we've got our clutch actuator. Look at this, and there's, you know, these big pieces where there's all these smaller, littler pieces. You have let me set this over. This is how the clutch actuates, and you can see that worm, right? They call that a worm because it goes round and round. And that's a worm gear, so when you screw it in and out, it pushes and pulls the clutch pins. When the clutch pins slide right in here, there's actually a thrust bearing here. This is what actuates the clutch. Amazing. That's gonna be what locks your hub in. How to reassemble a 1914 Harley with only a Swiss Army knife that my daughter gave me for my birthday. It's the most valuable tool in the box. All right, coolness. We've got our clutch actuator, and then we have our worm. How is that gonna go? Oh, yes, yes, yes. Wow, I think we're ready to mount this in the frame. Let's take these two. You take this one, and this. Okay, you're gonna go on the other side. And I'm gonna take this one, slide her up here. All right, ready? There we go. We're getting it in there. One. Cool, okay, so round one, and then the spiky one. Yep, and you can point that forward, and then the nut. Think it'll thread on? I'll help you. It's pretty rusty, isn't it? One of the last things you guys might notice is that it doesn't have gas tanks and it doesn't have a seat, it doesn't have tires. So in planning our conservation, preservation, or restoration, we haven't decided which, in planning that for this motorcycle and the carburetor, we gotta make some decisions. So I think what we ought to do, being that the bike's old and used, find a set of old used tires. And these are 28x3s. These are actually the right size tires. So we'll go ahead and lean them here, save them for later. All right, now we're missing a seat. Let me see, now that, and it's missing a seat post too. That's kind of bicycle-ish. Wow, look at that bad boy. Wow, that's even earlier. Look, it's got a, holy smokes. You know what? I've got a seat in the back for it. I've got a seat and a seat post. It's missing a magneto. Got a magneto. So the mag will hang in right here. And again, guys, we're just piling the pieces together. So what do we got next? We got a seat post. I just saw a seat post, or a seat T. Seat T. Right the length? Ooh, it's too wide. We need one like this, but it's gotta be thinner than that. I don't think we have it, but we got something to base it on. Potentially The gas tanks. I was thinking as I'm driving home, you know what? Finding a set of 1914 Harley Davidson twin gas tanks may be as difficult as it gets. I started thinking and a light bulb came on. And I started thinking, you know what? I think there's a pair of gas tanks in the museum that may actually work. And those gas tanks have been sitting on this shelf for 20 years. And if I'm not mistaken, they are 1914 twin cylinder gas tanks. And they are absolutely original condition. Guys, check that out. You see the Harley Davidson. So what we're gonna do is keep our fingers crossed and try and give these things a quick mount. Do they fit? Please fit. Oh my gosh! And all the holes line up. Oh, it doesn't get any cooler than that. Yes. Oh, wow. Amazing. This is the stuff we live for. Motorcycle archaeology at its best. Oh. Oh. How'd we do?
Good.
We do pretty good? I'm pretty proud of it. Oh man, you made my day. I'm sure glad I had you here to help. And we had our trusty Swiss Army knife. We get to sit back now and admire our work. Man, doesn't get much better than that. I can't believe those gas tanks. It's a good apprentice, very good apprentice. She's a lot easier to put on my shoulders than Chris is, so here, hop on, let's go. We go work in the shop. Ready? All right. Come on, guys, 55 panhead to finish up. Oh! How's it coming there? You still milking it?
Still milking it. Might have to make me a little, a little pointier tool here.
A pointier tool?
Yeah. Now I'm determined.
Hey, wait a minute.
Oh, well, see, now you take all the fun away.
Those were in there the whole time. Did you put those in there?
No, I hadn't even looked in there.
Where else?
I mean, I was almost there. I was like one turn away.
Man, there's a bunch of great stuff in here too. There are more lights. There's bulbs anyway. Hardware, look at this. St. Christopher, be our protector.
Oh, is it?
So, by the way, super rad charger. These things are actually collector's items. Probably 1970s, -79 Harley Davidson charger. This was just a donation from one of our supporters here at the museum. Thank you, you know who you are. Very, very cool. We're gonna see if this thing actually has any juice left in it. Saw a comment from one of our subscribers, when are you guys gonna get some power tools? And even the tools are vintage around here. Where's a good ground? There's chrome everywhere, so. Now I wonder, it's a sidecar bike and wasn't necessarily a sidecar bike from the start. So I wonder if it's got reverse, you know? Okay, let's see. Kick it over.
So if it does have reverse, that means they've taken out one of the other four, you know.
Well, it's a whole different gear set.
It's
a whole different gear set. So if they have reverse, when I kick it over, obviously it's going to go backwards.
But do they have to take one of the, like instead of having a 4-speed, you've only got a 3-speed plus reverse?
It's a 3 plus reverse, yeah. So there's not a 4-speed. Look, there's an R up there. Give me a little roll. There we are. Okay, so when I kick, we ought to go backwards. Oh yeah, so it's a reverse transmission. Okay, so now we got some thinking to do. Firstly, it's a lot of motorcycle and reverse is really nice when you got all this weight. But they're a lot more fun to ride when they're a 4-speed, and if you just don't pull in where you need to reverse it, then you don't really ever need reverse.
But now, if they changed the clutch and the shifter setup afterwards, when they put the sidecar on, they could have changed all that.
Well,
correct?
and this is where it gets weird. For this to even exist on this bike, they had to change something on the transmission because it would be a ratchet lid and now it's a jockey lid. This transmission actually came with the bike. This was on the side. And it has the jockey lid, a 4-speed gearbox. So this is what the inside of a Harley Davidson gearbox looks like, guys. Constant mesh transmission. Really, for the time, 1936, this stuff is genius. What they did was they did away with the old sliding gear transmission. All gears are always meshed up. So, and you can see right now I'm in neutral. This here is your engine input from the engine, and this is your output to the rear wheel. So right now we're in neutral, and the way this works, all done with the shift drum on top. Here, let's see if we can, So this here is what determines what gear you're in, the shift drum. And on a 4-speed transmission, it's a -36 part number. They came out with this trans in 36. The way that works is as you shift, you slide your shifter clutches here into first gear. And you can see that sprocket moves slow. You slide into second gear, and you can see this spin a little bit faster, a little bit closer to that final drive 1-to-1 ratio in fourth gear. Third gear spins this way, so you're in neutral here. Third gear spins, and then fourth gear, and everything's on a 1-to-1 ratio. This transmission is beautiful inside. Doesn't have a speedometer drive gear. So if we indeed, what's the date code on this? Date code on the transmission looks like it'd be an I9. I is what? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. 9th letter. So that's September of 49. 55 bike. This is not the actual transmission that came out of that bike. So that's good to know.
Then it makes you wonder if he was getting ready to do the same thing that we're talking about doing. Right, and found the transmission to put it back.
Put a 4-speed back in it. Yeah. It's wild, you know, and there's no telling. We don't know how long this guy had this bike, you know. He had it obviously since 16. Got the New York plate on there. Let's see if we're coming up battery-wise. Are we coming up any? 6.6. Yeah, it's putting juice in there. That charger works, man. Wow, we got a new shop charger, Chris.
And it's a lot easier to maneuver around than that other big thing.
Kick this sucker over. Yeah, you can hear it working. Here, how about something to flick those points with?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yo.
Get you?
Yeah. Got me. Let's see if it's got it through the coil. Chris, see if you can flick the points again.
Oh, gosh. That does not feel good. I know why I'm over here on this side. Need something to insulate my hand from...
You got a glove?
No.
If it fits, you must quit, Chris.
I'm just going to have to suffer through it again, I guess. You ready?
I'm ready. Nothing yet.
Sorry, I missed it. One more time, Chris.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing yet. Keep trying.
Yeah, one more time. Hold on, I'm zoomed way tight in.
Y'all just messed it. It's just hard to get your hand in here and not be touching anything on the bike.
I know, man. It's, hope your pacemaker keeps at it. All right.
You ready?
Yep. Go for it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we got good hot spark. Good pair of spark plugs, but that points gap we got to do something about. That absolutely won't work. Let's just try and fire it up, man. Huh? We can screw around all we want, but the reality is, I mean, we got spark at the points.
Yep.
We've spun the motor over, and it's very free. There's a lot of oil in the lower end.
Yeah.
Here you go. You can pop that in the oil tank.
Okay.
As long as you don't spill a drop, especially with that seat. Oh. Ooh. Very good, grasshopper.
I've learned.
It's this balance between working on the bike with the sidecar on and dealing with the hassle versus the hassle of taking it off and setting it back up properly. When they come apart, they never go right back together the way you hope they would. I think he's got an O-ring in the... That is definitely a non-standard plug. It's also got a 4-rib or a 5-rib toolbox too, which I wonder if that's year correct or not. Wouldn't this be amazing if it just cranked right up?
Oh, I know.
Didn't need the carburetor taken apart. Needles turn pretty free on the carburetor. You know, that's also not a genuine Harley Davidson air cleaner. We're gonna take that off so we can see inside. I also want to put the original air cleaner back on once we've decided that it runs the way that it's supposed to. Gear oil?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's full.
It's full. Man, that's a big plus about the sidecars, man, is transmission stays full because it's not leaned over on the side stand. Oh, modern air cleaner. This thing was ridden recently. This thing was definitely ridden recently. Question is, why did he put it up? We're just gonna go for it.
Yeah.
And hope that this is a best case scenario. It's John's panhead. All right, guys, so we got fluids. We're gonna keep our fingers crossed. Wait, no, I gotta adjust the points.
Oh, yeah.
Before we can there's no point even. And so what we're gonna do in the meantime, Chris, is we're gonna take the plugs back out. We're gonna pop that front intake. Do you have your flashlight?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you could kick that sucker up. Let me get this, I'll tell you what, man, I sure love a garbage wagon, but the more stuff you put on these bikes, the harder they are to work with. And them being easy to work with was always the big allure.
Yeah. Well, and
to the
especially when you
motorcycle.
have this many accessories and you're not the one who wired it.
Okay, so real slow and easy. Spin it over. Slow. Okay, easy, slower than that. Okay, that's compression on the rear. So then we're coming down. Now you ease up. Now you're just gonna bump, bump, bump. Nope, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a big move, so you gotta go even less than that. Oh, yep. There's the timing mark. Put it in gear and bump it backwards.
Okay.
Oh, too much. Just a little bump forward. Little. Okay, right there. Right where we want to time it. So we're looking for the points to fire or brake on the small lobe. Feeler gauge.
It's already broken wide open. Right
Wide
now.
open. Yeah, we were way off. There's no way that thing would have ran. And we want to be right at 22 thousandths. There's my 22. It's a big old wide gap. Tough to get a gauge in there. Yeah, as you guys can see, that points gap is absolutely monster. Gap is right in here, and you can slap that back and forth. So we're gonna tighten this up. I got it.
Gone.
It's all good.
You got it?
Yeah, looks good to me. A little tight. Too loose. Back and forth and back and forth. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. So, man, that nailed it. Okay, now we need our half, and we got to adjust those points to be braking right now. Let's go ahead and advance it for me, if you would.
It's advanced right now.
Okay, your full advance, and then... Interesting. What we're doing is this little nut here locks the distributor in place, or the timer in place, and what we've got is way too much advance, and I don't think those points are broken. Dude, I'll tell you what. These points suck. These points are terrible. I don't know how this is ever going to work. We're going to change the points, man. I think we have to.
Okay.
God, what is even going on with those points? Do I have any like that? Do I even have any points like that? You know, like these. Here, this is what we're looking for. Genuine Harley Davidson points. Yeah.
So here's a question.
Yep.
Would a factory sidecar bike had a kickstand on it?
No.
Yeah.
Has a kickstand?
Well, no, but you can see where one was.
You can see where well, and that bracket was put on later too. That's a whole foot clutch bracket. So that we know that's not original to this bike. Okay, so what we got? It's a beautiful example of a motorcycle, but I'll tell you what. Oh, yeah, no wonder. That was never gonna work real good. No wonder those things were floating all over the place. Wow. Okay. Yeah, they might have been decent to begin with. Oh man, I want to hear this thing run so bad, but I'm kind of nervous. They hadn't been burnt up, but they sure weren't a new set of points. This is exactly what dreams are made of, man, is original condition, all the stuff on it that you could put on one of these bikes. Just very, very cool. You know, one of the things we're all about here at Wheels is bikes with personality and bikes with character. And this thing, oh my gosh, it's got the previous owner or the first owner just written all over it. Accessories and, oh, those feel so much better, those points do. Exactly the type of bike that you want to find, you know, all the great parts in the world, you know, and we're 50 plus years removed, 70 years almost removed from when this bike was new. So the character this bike developed over its lifetime, it's hard to replicate. It's about impossible to replicate. And that's why, you know, us guys that are into this hobby, this sport, chase stuff just like this, because it's really like a time capsule, you know, a step back into a different period. Okay, I think that'll work. So now what we've got to do, though, is set the gap first. Try and get those points broken. Oh, yeah, man, those last sets of points, that last set of points was so messed up that there's no telling if it ever would have worked. Okay, so there's our gap.
No.
Boom. Genuine Harley points. Okay, now we're checking the timing. If we are indeed at our 22. Oh, yeah, nice. Very nice.
Yeah, okay, right. Okay, now back just a little bit more. Okay, that's just, that went too far just to come back. Okay, you're just breaking into the hole right there.
Okay, good?
Yep.
Key on.
Hold on. Now the key doesn't work. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can hear it from here.
Yes, tighten them plugs up.
Okay.
Let's fire this sucker up. Please do not want to rebuild that carburetor. Man, and seeing all that dirty gas.
Well, you know, the thing about it is the gas that's in the filter
Yeah.
it's not as dark as what was in the tank.
Okay.
So maybe it
Wow.
was just the tank itself that had and that gas sitting in there.
If this fires up, it'll be a testament to the equipment. The bike's been sitting 5-6 years. It looks like the fuel was shut off, but you never really know. So we got oil in the trans.
Yep.
Had oil in the trans.
Yeah. Oil in the tank.
Oil in the tank. We got air in the tires. We've had ignition at the points and we had spark at the plugs. So at this moment, all we need is fuel. We've got compression. Didn't really check compression, did we? We're just gonna wing it. Yeah. Let's go ahead and turn her on. We're gonna go ahead and tap that float bowl. The carburetor throat looks really clean, and I know that doesn't tell you a lot. Okay, well, so all right, we are in neutral, I believe. We still have ignition, and we got compression. You can feel it. All right, guys, moment of truth. Any guesses on kicks? Put it in the comments below. Choke. We're gonna choke it until we got fuel in the throat of that carburetor. Oh yeah, I see it. This sucker's gonna fire right up. Watch this, one kick. Come on. Bummer. Woo!
Typical panhead.
Typical panhead. Are we 180 out? I swear I was at. I think there.
You got a lot of fuel down
A
there.
lot of fuel.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Come on. Oh, I guess I could turn the ignition on. That might work. Ready? Hey! All right.
There we go.
Come on, that was hitting on both cylinders too. God dang! Whoa!
One light right here.
Turn signals. They flash too. Okay, there's your high-low beam. Got one. No way. Fender light. Tell me if the stoplight works.
Yeah.
Does it?
It's,
At the bottom?
yeah. It's dull, but it's there.
I'm going for a ride, dude. I gotta ride it. Idle's so good. Quiet. Got a little wobble when you let off. That high slide front end has not got the brake on it. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to check out one of the 2 videos up above, and please support the museum by picking up some merch below. We'll see you on the next round.